request from one team that they have to leave again, so let's start on time. So, very welcome to the Creativity Engineering class 2018-2019. And very proud that this is the 10th year that we are doing this, so you are in a great place to go through the semester with your creative ideas. So I would like to give you a short introduction into the course, and then the main part of our get-together today is getting your teams to present their ideas out here and maybe finding missing team members. So why am I doing this for already 10 years? This is a question that keeps coming back even for myself. I think the main reason is that there's so many challenges in the world and bad news that come through the channels that really enjoy giving us bad news as well, that I'm always looking for good news. So I'm looking for solutions, for new initiatives that do something good for humanity, that make us smile, that inspire us. Like the one I just found today, that there's a cat sanctuary somewhere on a Greek island, and they are looking for someone to take care of it, and 35,000 people applied for it, so it's quite an interesting news. So there's also, of course, a lot of really good initiatives and platforms and startups that do good stuff. So I don't know if you heard about those that are here on the slide. OpenIDEA has started quite some years ago a platform where you can innovate in an open circle about solving social problems. So I'm seeing some heads nodding. And something like Kiva, and where you can get small amounts of loans for starting your own business. But there's also this remaining question mark all the time: how do we really make the world a better place? And I believe that when the real impact happens, when we create something together, is when these three areas come together. So it's finding the right people and the knowledge that they have, and then sharing this knowledge from different perspectives, and actually building solutions. So when we are able to get those three forces to meet in one point, then we have real impact. And I mean, we are at the University of Technology, so technology is really in the center of all of these questions. And I believe technology is a tool. It's just like a knife. So it depends on the intention you use this tool for, or you use this tool with. And I found something really interesting that I would like to share with you. It's called the Seee Manifesto, and fortunately it fits together with creativity engineering. It could also mean, though, not creativity, but critical engineering. So I'll hand out some of this. Can you pass it on to the back? I'll just pass it on here. You have enough? So no, I didn't keep one. Let me borrow one. I just want to read you the first, the basics here. It says here, the critical engineer considers engineering to be the most transformative language of our time, shaping the way we move, communicate, and think. Yeah. Everybody has one? Almost? You don't have? More coming. Can I get the rest, some remaining ones? Thank you. Thank you. Everybody has in the back? I think I took one from you, right? Yeah. Okay, let's just read the first basis here together, and then the rest I leave it to you. The critical engineer considers engineering to be the most transformative language of our time, shaping the way we move, communicate, and think. It is the work of the critical or creative engineer to study and exploit this language, exposing its influence. So the key word for me here is influence. You will be all very influential people in the future. It may not sound very probable right now, but all the companies are looking for the skills you are acquiring here. And I hope that you will use it with the intention of doing good. So I am encouraging you to take this into your team conversations, into the first ones, and yeah, speak about it. I think you'll have night-long discussions about it, and I wish I would be there, because I'm sure it'll be very interesting. Okay, so I'll continue here, and want to mention a few more networks where this impact really happens, in my view. So I don't know if you've come across the Make Sense network, for example. It's a network where people come together also and create different initiatives to solve social problems and challenges. Or the Impact Hub, it's also a global network of co-working spaces that are dedicated to solving social issues. There's also a network called the Fuck Up Nights network. Has anybody heard about that yet? Okay, one person. So I'm really encouraging you to go to one of those fuck up nights, and it's really fun, but probably in a different way than what you were thinking now. It's an evening format where 3 to 4 speakers have 7 minutes to share a story of failure, something that has gone wrong, where they have really fucked up. That's where the name comes from. And I am doing this in Basel. And I just had one last week on Thursday, and it was really interesting again. And there's already 304 cities around the world that do this kind of fuck-up nights, and they do it on a regular basis. So it's really something interesting to go to. And as you can see, there's lots of them in Austria alone and in 80 countries. So go there, you'll find not only interesting stories, but also amazing people who are willing to share their experiences openly and give you the chance to learn from their mistakes, which is hard enough anyway, but it's fun. So this is one of the projects from the last year's creativity engineering class. It was the Labtastic project, and I'm really happy to show this to you as an example. Caroline from that team, they really started a non-profit organization called Catalab, and what they do is they show chemical processes to children, or to anybody interested in learning about chemical science, chemistry basically, in a very practical way, and what you can do with it. So maybe if you are working on something that you are really getting into, it could be something that really can become something in your life later on as well. So I'm asking you to come along on this ride with me in this semester, and be willing to maybe go a little bit out of your comfort zone and try something new. So I hope by the end of today you'll have a yes in your mind as an answer to this question. So who is asking you this? So a little bit about me. And I love to work with teams, especially with engineers like you are. And I love to work with happy people, people who have fun doing what they do. This is a major ingredient, I think, in anything that becomes successful. And so happy is a big word that we should incorporate in our team processes. And sometimes I'm also, successful in making people very happy, so I hope you will be like that later on as well. But a few more numbers about me, because when you get into the business world, it's always about numbers, and can you prove this, and can you prove that? So I actually hate this, because there are so many things we do not measure, which are the soft facts usually, because they are harder to measure, but they are much more important. but I'll reveal here what these numbers mean. So from the top, the biggest number is the money that I've lost. And the smallest number here is my cat that I love. So you get a lot of experience if you have the time to come to the office hours or to have questions so that we can interact during the semester. Come on in. I've been around in the innovation space, startup area for 25 years now, with the experience from 14 cities in 7 countries and 3 continents. So I'm always looking for new things that I've never heard, so I'm really curious what you are bringing in. This is Dr. Ostad, the co-lecturer who has the online webinars with the topic of creativity. So I've already heard today there was some of you who could not listen on Friday. So if there is a problem, please connect with him, send him an email, or if he doesn't answer, please send it to me. I'll reroute it again, and we hope that you are able to fulfill the requirement also as a second part of this lecture, that you take those creativity webinars as well, and there's a few small practice exercises and stuff that are there. So please make sure that you fulfill that part at the end of the semester as well to get the grade and the ECTS points. So here in the front, I brought my mom. She is always helping me in this class to get the teams together. She's a teacher herself, retired now, but I'm very happy that I can volunteer her to help me. So now let's come to one picture that will come again and again, and I chose the iceberg here. And the reason is that a lot of the things we do in developing ideas, it's about communicating that tip of the iceberg. But to be able to answer these questions that maybe somebody has, that you have to answer questions for going to a bank to get a loan or anything else like that, getting other people to help you working on an idea. There's all these questions below in the iceberg that you need to have studied, that you need to have answered before you can give those crucial top-level answers. So just keep that picture in your mind, it will come again. So everyone who comes into these classes, even in the last 10 years, has a different kind of level of knowledge in the business area, experience, is in a different stage in the class, maybe in the bachelor level or in the master's level, or even sometimes in the PhD level. So the main theme, along which we are using to develop your ideas is along the business plan. But there's also this term, the business model, and there's something like SWOT analysis. You know these terms? Anybody knows about these terms? Only a few. Okay. Has anybody created a business plan before? Okay. How much time did it take?
I don't know. Depends. I've done a few for lectures before I had to.
Yeah, but
like one for it was like so serious because it took several stages to create it. For like took like 1 semester or something like that. But small ones like 1 week or something like that.
okay. How about you?
2 weeks to 4 weeks.
Full time.
Well, I don't know, maybe
Okay.
6 hours.
So both of you said something about the seriousness, right? So it's like if you really want to do something profound that you are believing in, that you actually want to realize in life, then it may take really a long time, and it's too much for the framework of this class to actually go into developing a full-fledged business plan with a financial plan and everything. So it's the goal, certainly it's the intention if you want to go there, but it's not the requirement in the class that this is what we're doing. You all have to submit business plans. So I actually would like to get you more into thinking about business models and what's all needed to build up this idea that you have in your mind within your team also. Just try to approach this really in the practical way and not just for writing a business plan that maybe it's of no use later on anyway. So there's also terms like the marketing plan that is in the center of our thinking here as well, because what I am really wanting to give you as a recommendation and hands-on experience that thinking about your market as early as possible is part of the success of building up anything, be it a startup or just an idea that you want to implement in form of a non-profit organization or an association. So this is kind of the topics will be circling around, and the way I want to do this is using 5 stops. I've called them stops, and the topics are basically the team, the idea, the market, the partnerships, and the business model itself. And I've chosen these because they are the crucial areas of your success. There's been lots of studies about what really makes a startup successful or what makes them fail, and these are the important factors here. So how I will do this in the course is to take those 5 topics, and we have like 2 weeks for each of those topics. And I just briefly want to go through them with you now here. What questions are we trying to get answers, or are your questions that you are going to be answering within your team? So the team itself is a very, very important question. Actually, it's the most important one. If you ask venture capitalists or people investing into startups or any kind of new development, it doesn't have to be within a startup. It's about the people. It's even more important than the idea actually. You and your team members are the ones who will drive the development and who are the ones who will be successful with it or not. So if you want to pitch someone to help you in your venture, these are the questions they will ask you. So what are your reasons why you're doing this? Why do you think that you are the special person in this world who can make this happen? And how can you get this done with your team members? So it's all about your skills and your motivation and engagement. But of course there's all these other questions that you have to answer before within your team to be able to answer this in a very crisp way. So then the idea of course itself is something that has to be convincing again for someone. So again, why is this idea important for the world? How are you solving a problem for this? And what kind of resources do you need? Again, lots of topics below in the iceberg that you need to know to be able to answer these questions. The market itself, like I said already, is what's making people pay. What's the market you're choosing, and who are your customers? How do they look like? Lots of possibilities to experiment with your market, to co-create the product with your customers. Very important topics for interesting people with money or resources to help you doing something if your market is something they are interested in. Partnerships. Partnerships I really love the most because with your partners you can reach the markets that you want to reach. Partners need to complement your own skills and bring something into the relationship that helps you grow. What kind of topics do we have here? Very closely connected to your strategy. Where do you want to go? Do you share values with the people you work with? Do you believe into the same things? This is what makes partnerships successful. And last but not least, the business model, who is the glue of everything together. And that's the model that you're choosing to make money. So where is the money coming from, and what's the conditions and systems that you're building up for making that money coming towards you so that you can run your business. There's lots of interesting models out there that we can talk about, and that's in December we will tackle that topic. So, practically, what you really have to deliver in the course, what are the things you have to submit. So, we are already in part A. When you're done today, then you'll have a check mark here already. And the most important parts are basically questionnaires that will, on the one hand, collect your answers for the contents in those 5 stops. So I call them progress report because it's kind of the steps you move through in the development plan. And then there is also questionnaires making you reflect about your own work. Think about how decisions have come about, how you work together. So this reflection, I believe, is a very, very important part here as well, to really understand how to grow something together in a team. So then there is the option and necessity to come also for an online coaching session, and as I said, I will have office hours and you can choose when you want to come and with your team, or also just maybe one of you in the team with some questions that you have during the work. And at the end of the semester, we'll have a pitching session again. This will be an online session, so we will not be together in a physical space like today. So the most important question for me though, and I think if you're serious about developing an idea, is this one. How do we actually make this happen, that every one of your team members gives his or her own best? And the key in this is for me that really to be honest to each other, to give the peer feedback everybody needs, and also to reflect about your own performance. And that's why, as a tool working together, it's all about questionnaires that you will be working with to deliver the results that you create together. So tools, I've already said tools. There's lots and lots of tools out there, and here's of course the tool as one of the tools that we are using. Let's say it's our home base, where you find lots of materials. It's also used for the course communication, so I will be sending you messages through the forum. There's also another forum where you can ask questions if there is any problems out there, or of course you can also use my email. And then there will be group forums where you can show how far you are in your teams. For the daily work and the communication between you and your team members, how you plan the work and all these things, you're completely free. So whatever you want to use, Asana, Trello, WhatsApp, it's all up to you how you do that. And then these questionnaires that I've just already circled around, there is a tool that I've been developing throughout the last 10 years, and it's now the 4th attempt that I'm trying to put this in an actual tool, and this tool is called the Team Gyro. So I would like to, I'll come back to the Team Gyro in a second again. So this is just a screenshot about the group forums that you will find in Tuvel, and it will have the name of your team and the number as well. So this is really helpful if you are writing emails to me also. Please state that group number and your name so that I know where to go and where to find you. In terms of schedule, okay, another screenshot here from the tool as a learning resource. There's a toolbox at the end as well, and you find a very interesting material for getting into the business thinking. In terms of schedule, I have uploaded a PDF document that separates the semester, the weeks of time that we have together, and puts it into the right perspective in terms of what are we working on right now. So I will be updating this document with locations of where to go for the office hours, where to go for the online workshops. So it's basically the 5 stops, and each stop has 2 weeks that we will be taking for getting into that. So please find this in Tuvel and use this as your main document for anything schedule and locations to go for our online meetings, okay? So coming back to the Team Gyro, this is a tool that is in development right now. It's very much at the beginning. So what I would like to ask you at the moment here is to just get registered there and don't do anything else yet. I will send you an email in the next couple of days with the link again, so you don't have to remember this now. But it's not ready yet to do anything now. So I'll be happy if I have everybody in there yet who wants to really go through in the semester, so that we can then start working with you on this. So there'll be very detailed instructions for you. Okay, so despite all the tools that we have to help us, work together in the teams, there will be a lot of things that go wrong. There will be maybe people who are not able to log in into something, so that they cannot attend. So I'll just, want to ask you to I know you will be feeling like this, and I will maybe be feeling like this during the semester, but we will all stay cool and keep an open communication. So if there's any problem, just send me an email and send it to me again also if I'm not responding in a couple of days. And just take it easy, we'll get through this. So my recommendations, and then we will start with the team presentations. I really want to encourage you to go out there and not just work now within your team, but what we have experienced, especially when we had the creativity engineering as a summer school, is that for many of you, maybe it's a very first experience to just go out there on the road and show people what you have maybe sketched and what you have put together. 5 questions about the product that you want to create, and just ask people for feedback. What do you think about this? Is this a price you would pay for something like this? And that was always very, very interesting and a good experience for everyone to do. So sketching, as I mentioned, be very visual in trying to explain other people your ideas, and really ask others. Ask your moms and your families at home. Ask anybody that you come across and check your idea basically. Does that make any sense? We are in a circle, so this will never end. Unfortunately, this is life. It's not different than what we're doing in class together. So it's always about planning and doing something, and then you're coming back to, okay, what did we actually do, reflecting about it, and then learning something out of it, hopefully, and starting to plan again. So share this and discuss it with lots of people. Lean on each other and learn from each other. For me, it's all about those 3 words here: attention, attitude, and action. This is something that maybe is not really something you're asked at the university here. Be more on the right side and be creative and colorful and maybe crazy with your ideas as well. That's what's bringing the fun into the work together. So now I'm coming to this elevator pitch, to this pitching your idea. And what I would like to ask you doing today is coming out as a team, presenting the idea you have and your team members, and your why. Why do you want to work on this? Okay? Any questions about the expectation for the pitch? You can have a PowerPoint if you want, but it's not really needed. You can present it any other way. Then we will do a voting in the sense of how do others like this idea. Very simple, plus, minus, and I don't know. And then this is the, let's say, the documentation for your teams to enter into the class. There is a form that you can get down here in the front. And you can pick up a form now, or put your names of your team members and your group name onto that form and hand it in with my mom. Okay, so this is a team registration. If you're here for someone else or someone could not come, then please let us know that as well, because I have communicated this class as compulsory, and that's also what it is. But there are sometimes reasons why you can't be in two places at the same time. Which is really important, which I almost forgot. Please write in a way that it's readable, okay? So now starting with my own requirements. If there's anybody who is not in a team, I would appreciate help in this semester as well. There is a lot of things to do around the team gyro, so if somebody has this IT knowledge, it would be helpful as well. Or coming from the other side, you know, what are team processes, if you're interested in this topic. And on the other hand as well, how can we also learn from each other in the terms of learning from other teams. Now you'll be going off and working in your team, but learning from what the other team is doing and what they have maybe experienced would also be something that I would like to integrate in this class, but it needs also some more work on it. So if anybody's interested in this, please come down to me after the class as well. So where do I start now first? There's one team here who wants to go very early. I think we have enough time. Yeah, quickly. So I'll start with a special request, and I'll hand you the phone because, and then the team who came to me could get ready. Okay.